The Chief Constable of West Midlands Police is calling on the public to do more to make their communities safer. Dave Thompson has been speaking 2 years after taking on the job. Well, in that time, there's been an increase in crime of 14%. Robbery has increased by 27% and vehicle crime by more than 32%. But police numbers have fallen to their lowest since the 1970s. Our special correspondent Peter Wilson has been to meet him.
Always smiling, always positive, but Dave Thompson is 2 years into one of the biggest jobs in policing, managing the West Midlands force with 2,000 fewer officers and with crime rising. Last year, he warned police forces were at breaking point. One answer: ask the public to help that thin blue line.
But I do think that we need to look around our communities and say, would things be better if more of us took an interest in our street and our neighbours? And this year we will be making big steps to involve the public more through street watches, home watches, even interacting with us online to expand the eyes and ears available to policing and, in some case, the hands, because I think the public do have a very important role in creating safe communities.
So do you want the public to be have-a-go heroes?
We'd never ask the public to do a professional police officer's job, but that's not what we're seeking. I think if people could be our eyes and ears and help us on the less demanding tasks that they can do to support the community, that's exactly what we want.
There was a community meeting last week in Coventry. People were saying that they never get to see a West Midlands police officer.
Well, there are 2,200 less police officers since 2010 in West Midlands, and the challenges we're looking at now are very different. So we have a large, for example, proportion of officers now engaged in dealing with people who are sharing abusive images of children online. That's really important stuff to protect the public that they don't see, and there are some important areas we've had to make big investments in that area.
Does that mean people who have their houses broken into, burglaries, just don't get investigated anymore?
No, because what I would say is the biggest priority in the force at the moment is those volume crimes of burglary. Vehicle crime we've seen change quite a lot in the last 12 months. It's really important we deal with it.
Knife crime is now at a 6-year high, one of the gravest challenges facing this Chief Constable.
We know a lot of young people carry knives because they're frightened. They rarely consider the consequential issues, and I want to make sure this year that we industrialise that prevention message to every young person in the West Midlands. But I want mums and dads to have that conversation with sons and daughters. I am horrified when we see some of the young people that we catch carrying knives that mums and dads just never believed their child would do that.
Have you got enough money to cope with all the challenges that you actually face?
We're the smallest known officer numbers we've ever been since 1974, and I don't see the threats that policing's been asked to deal with getting simpler, easier or narrower. I think more's been asked of policing, where we're policing the most deprived communities in the country, the second most diverse community in the country, the youngest community in the country, and I feel our policing spend is behind where it should be.
The scale of the terrorist threat made clear with new safety measures outside the police headquarters. The Chief Constable says policing needs to be more imaginative and it needs the public's help like never before.
And Peter joins me in the studio now. Peter, what's been the reaction to the Chief Constable's call for the public to help in fighting crime?
Well, the force is still working on the details of this initiative. They'll announce those details later on this year. But in that interview with the Chief Constable, I was referring to a public meeting in Coventry. It took place last week in Willenhall. It was attended by 200 often very angry people. They actually feel quite let down by West Midlands Police. We've spoken tonight to one councillor in the area who paints a rather bleak picture of what some people in that part of Coventry are thinking.
People have lost confidence in the police, they've lost confidence in their ability to police the area, and they've lost confidence in their ability to support people who are victims of crime. People are reporting thefts, they're reporting break-ins, they're reporting assaults, and it can take up to 4 days before there is a response, and the response is coming in the form of a telephone call from a police call centre.
So a lot of work for the police to do, Peter.
That's right, but communities can act in different ways, and in the same area, a social club in Willenhall suffered a very bad break-in, but on their Facebook pages they've been posting pictures of the suspected culprits. That could get information which a police investigation could usefully use. But obviously any initiative like this requires police numbers, and the force has already said that it's set to lose another 150 staff later on this year.
OK, Peter Wilson, thank you for that. Well, as if to echo the Chief Constable's calls for the community to get involved, a new crime prevention scheme was launched on the city's canals today. Increasing numbers of people are living and working on the waterways. So the Canal and River Trust and West Midlands Police have joined together to launch a neighbourhood watch scheme. It'll be rolled out to the rest of the West Midlands by the end of March and nationwide later in the year. Joanne Riddle has stepped on board to find out more.
It's often quoted that there are more miles of canals in Birmingham than there are in Venice, and the second city has seen an explosion of businesses, homes and visitors both on and next to the water. For restaurant boat owner Jill Smith, that's great for trade, but she's also had 4 break-ins in 6 years.
It's generally, there's obviously alcohol on board the restaurant boat that people go for. Tend to break a few things on their way in because they're not that particularly interested in the general stuff that's in the boat. And on the last occasion, the person was actually here when the staff came to work and came out of a side window with a kitchen knife.
And was anybody hurt?
No, just surprised, a bit shocked. But they did catch him in the end.
So today, the Canal and River Trust and West Midlands Police launched Canal Watch, a kind of neighbourhood watch for the communities on and near canals. Police say there hasn't been an increase in crime here. This is about prevention.
This is more about public reassurance. It's actually getting different partner agencies working together. So members of the community that come into the West Midlands, work with local businesses, work with the residential properties around here.
You know, there are more boats on our canals here in the UK now than there were at the height of the Industrial Revolution. Some 33,000 of them, 3,500 on our canals here in the West Midlands. That popularity has prompted the Canal and River Trust to link up with the police.
When people walk along these canals in future, they'll see signs which have got Canal Watch, and it also got a link to the police. So if they see something untoward or see some antisocial behaviour or something they can be concerned about, they just dial 101 and they can get through to the police and have some reaction.
According to the College of Policing, for every 100 crimes, a quarter could be prevented through Neighbourhood Watch. Communities working together to share information and cut crime. Joanne Riddle, BBC Midlands Today, Birmingham.
A brief look at some of the day's other news now, and a